There have now been tons of leaks from the Battlefield Labs playtest. If you've been watching them, you've gotten a look at a lot of the gameplay, new features, and new content. And data miners who have dug into those files have discovered what appears to be plans for a pretty content-rich experience. Let's check it out. So going through the gameplay footage leaks, the Battlefield community has speculated, probably with some accuracy, that there is a much deeper weapon customization system in store for us than ever before. There's also indication from the data mining that we could be getting over 40 weapons at launch, which is quite a bit compared to what Battlefield 2042 shipped with. Now, focusing on weapon customization, it seems like we're getting something akin to the Plus menu where weapons will have all kinds of different attachment slots. Most guns seem to have around 9 or 10 attachment slots, like your muzzle, barrel, optics, magazine, ammunition, etc. But when it comes to how many options you'll have for each slot, data mining suggests that there's something like 20 or more options total for certain weapons, which sounds like a ton and also kind of similar to some of the gunsmith systems from recent Call of Duty games. But there's one catch: you have a maximum budget or attachment points that you can utilize for each gun. We've seen a UI indication of this leaked in gameplay, with weapons having 10 slots total that fill up as you add attachments. This could be similar to Sandstorm's supply point system, where your overall loadout has a per cost and you have a maximum budget that you can spend, though it seems like it's more limited just to the weapons in the playtest anyway. Now, on one hand, it's great seeing just how much depth the weapon customization could have for this game, and on the other hand, with bucket loads of attachments, it tends to lead to a few that work the best on each setup and the rest getting more or less unused. So when everyone figures out the meta loadout, that seems to be just what you see running around, and then the other 20 plus attachments that are there are just sort of there to look at. The other thing DICE needs to watch out for is that if the attachments make too big of a performance difference, or the weapons become reliant on the attachments to be enjoyable to use, it can lead to a bunch of downsides where players have to reference gear guides and weapon guides online just to know how to configure their weapons so that it's an enjoyable experience. And I bring up these examples because DICE has struggled with this situation before. Battlefield 4 offered tons of weapon options with few weapons that actually felt distinct from one another. Battlefield 1, on the opposite end of the spectrum, offered extremely distinct weapons that suffered from lack of customization or intuitive weapon firing mechanics. Hopefully DICE can find a nice balance where each platform feels distinct and useful at the base level, with attachments that serve mostly as side grades instead of flat DPS and accuracy buffs. But regardless of the route that they're going, it sounds like we're going to get a ton of base game content, at least when it comes to weapons and attachments, that should hopefully keep players engaged for quite some time. Now, moving on to maps, I think this is where things get more interesting. Battlefield as a franchise has always felt more focused on faraway conflicts, at least for American players. I know a big portion of the core dev team is located in Sweden, so not necessarily that far away for the devs themselves, but at least for US-based players, everything seems like it's a faraway conflict, with the exception being Battlefield Hardline, though Hardline had its own issues and it was also never really a military conflict that felt particularly realistic. However, that may be changing. Data miners have found several images used for loading screens in the playtest files that indicate we may be getting maps set in New York City and Los Angeles. I can't show the images themselves for copyright reasons, but if you ever wanted to play a Battlefield game set around the Manhattan Bridge, it looks like we might be getting that in the next Battlefield. Now, what excites me about this is that it reminds me of one of my favorite Call of Duties, Modern Warfare 2, which brought the conflict home with its epic Washington, D.C. section of the campaign. Few big budget titles have done US maps like this, so when Modern Warfare 2 did it, it was kind of a big deal for players. Battlefield finally bringing the conflict home, especially to such iconic and recognizable US cities, really makes it feel like DICE are going all out for this game, throwing in all the things players have always wanted a Battlefield game to be. Now, the data mined images also suggest that the game currently has roughly 11 maps, and that's nothing to sneeze at given the insane scale and fidelity of a typical Battlefield map, but it's also kind of par for the course for most Battlefield games since, say, Battlefield 3. It's hard to know what to make of this. Is this a wealth of content considering the higher level of fidelity? Maybe each map has a lot more depth to it than we're used to, but we'll just have to wait and see. It also looks like one of the maps is probably reserved for the Battle Royale mode and other mode. Oh yeah, that's right. The other news is that a Battle Royale mode seems like it's in the cards for the next title. Apparently, there could be two new free-to-play modes, a traditional Battle Royale and a multi-round elimination mode. And it seems like the upcoming Battle Royale mode will offer matchmaking in solo, duo, trio, and 4-man squad options. You'll insert via an MH-47 Chinook-style helicopter from which you'll parachute down to the ground. There'll be two different armor types available to equip, soft and hard armor. There will also be missions, call-ins, and loot with a rarity system. There's going to be upgrade kits and weapon upgrades that let you improve your loadout as the match goes on. The shrinking circle will likely be fire-based again, and there will be a second chance respawn mechanic. Now, of course, I'm used to this spiel from DICE. They've tried and failed many times with battle royales or extraction-style modes, and you can generally feel the collective groan from the community whenever they try and hype up a new mode. That said, DICE in particular have an interesting place in the history of this genre. Battlefield 5's Firestorm mode was a very unique and innovative take on the concept that offered full infantry and vehicle mixed combat with full-scale destruction that really elevated the experience, in my opinion, beyond many of the other battle royales on the market, and few have even matched it to this day. With DICE's new enhanced destruction system, that could take things even further. In Firestorm, you had the option to completely eliminate a building that somebody was camping in, and if they stayed in that building while the circle overtook them, the Firestorm itself would destroy the building to the ground. So it made camping a completely different game and changed up the meta in a way that I felt was very enjoyable to the franchise. The mode certainly gained some respect for having these amazing concepts. They were unfortunately held back by EA just not fully committing to the mode and under-delivering on the basics for what a battle royale needs, like looting, progression, and live service content. Now, the other new mode, which is also free to play, sounds a little bit more like a tournament system that you might have seen from games like The Finals. You'll have the same party size matchmaking options as the Battle Royale mode. There's various mission types that you'll have to complete as part of the gameplay. These include Circuit, Contract, Decryption, Extraction, Heist, Rodeo, Standoff, Vendetta, and Wreckage. The example that the data miner gives is that a match might start with the extraction mission active and then transition to capture the flag or a high-value target mission. After each mission, a certain number of teams will be eliminated until there's only 2 teams left to fight over the final mission objective. It also seems like this mode will utilize the same Battle Royale style map. So that seems like 2 distinct modes utilizing one map. Basically, DICE seems like they're just trying out some different concepts here and hoping that at least one of them is gonna stick. Now, in summary, DICE seems to be playing it pretty safe with the new Battlefield game, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for a long-standing franchise that has a player base that really wants them to get back to the basics of what a Battlefield title is. It looks like players are in store for a pretty large roster of weapons and attachments to keep us busy min-maxing our loadouts and finding the optimal style for us. The maps that are coming look like they're going to be pretty diverse, hopefully have the same level of destruction as shown off in the leaked gameplay, and the number of them seems to be pretty on par. And as expected, to nobody's surprise, DICE is making another stab at a Battle Royale mode, likely free to play, that's hopefully not doomed to die on launch, but it really means that they're going to need to commit to the concept rather than tiptoe around it and hope that it develops a player base. Now remember, none of this is official news from DICE, it's all based mostly on data mining, which in the past has turned out to be mostly accurate, but I would still take everything at face value and expect some of these things to change by the time the game launches. Just because files are in a build of the game doesn't mean they're going to make it to release. Often the file cleanup is one of the last things to happen in a process, so they could just be left over from concepts that they decided to cut from the final product. Now, I'd like to hear what you guys think about this in the comments section. Are you excited about the theme of the game, the enhanced destruction, the massive weapon loadout that allegedly is coming our way? What are your thoughts on free-to-play modes, a battle royale mode attached to this? Do you care about it? Are you excited? Do you think it's a good plan for the franchise? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe for more content like it. We'll be covering all the news related to Battlefield leading up to launch and through it. And up next, check out this video on Arma Reforger's Destruction Update. It changes the game in a massive way and draws even more similarities between itself and the Battlefield franchise. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.